You are doing everything right. You have a budget. You skip the unnecessary expenses. You automate your investments every single month without fail. You have been doing this for 2, maybe 3 years now. And you open your investment app this morning, and the number staring back at you is $23,000. That's it, $23,000 after years of discipline. Nobody prepares you for how demoralizing that feels. Because from the outside, investing looks like this clean, inspiring journey where patience gets rewarded and the numbers just climb. But from the inside, in the early years, it feels like you are pouring water into a bucket that has a very slow leak. You put money in. The market moves it up a little, sometimes down. You put more in, and the number just crawls. Here is what nobody tells you. That feeling is not a sign that you are doing something wrong. It is a sign that you are in the hardest phase of the entire journey. And there is a specific number, $100,000, where it is something mathematically fundamental changes. Most people quit before they reach it, and the ones who don't quit discover that everything they were doing finally starts working the way they were promised it would. Section 1. Why $100,000? Specifically, Charlie Munger, one of the greatest investors who ever lived, once said that the first $100,000 is a beach. That's a direct quote. A man worth billions looked back at his entire financial journey and singled out that specific milestone as the hardest part. He wasn't being dramatic. He was describing a mathematical reality. Here is the core problem with early investing. When your portfolio is small, compounding is technically happening, but you can barely feel it. A 10% annual return on $10,000 is $1,000. That's 1 month of contributions for most disciplined investors. The math is working, but you are outrunning it with your own effort. Your contributions are the engine. Compounding is barely the passenger. This is why the early years feel so slow, because they are slow relative to your effort. You are doing the heavy lifting. The money isn't carrying its weight yet. But something changes around $100,000. At that balance, a 10% annual return generates $10,000. That's getting close to what many people contribute in an entire year. The math starts to pull its weight, and from that point forward, every dollar that compounds makes the next year's compounding even more powerful. The first $100,000 is the hardest because you are building the machine almost entirely by hand. After $100,000, the machine starts helping you build itself. Section 2. The real numbers. Alex's journey. Let's make this concrete with someone named Alex. Alex is 26 years old. He starts investing $500 a month into a broad index fund with a historical average return of 10% annually. He is consistent. He never skips a month. He doesn't panic sell. He just shows up. Here is what his journey actually looks like. After year 1, Alex has contributed $6,000. His account is worth roughly $6,300. The market added $300. $300. That is his reward for 12 months of discipline. After year 3, Alex has put in $18,000. His account sits around $20,800. The market has added about $2,800. Still, his own contributions are doing most of the work. After year 5, Alex has contributed $30,000. His balance is around $38,000. The market has added roughly $8,000. Progress is visible now, but Alex is still responsible for the majority of the growth. Then comes the moment. Somewhere between year 7 and year 8, Alex crosses $100,000. He has contributed around $48,000 of his own money. The market has generated the remaining $52,000. For the first time, the money Alex never earned, never worked for, never stressed over, has now outpaced the money he earned with his actual time and effort. That is the crossing. That is what changes at $100,000. And here is where it accelerates. After year 10, Alex's balance is approaching $95,000 to $100,000, and his annual return from market growth alone is now around $9,000 to $10,000 per year, nearly matching his entire annual contribution. He is effectively getting a second investor working alongside him for free. That investor's name is time. By year 20, Alex's balance is over $340,000. He contributed $120,000 of his own money. The market generated over $220,000. The ratio has completely flipped. He is now a passenger. The machine is doing the driving. Section 3. What actually changes after $100,000? There are two things that shift after you cross $100,000, and they are equally important. The math changes and your psychology changes. On the math side, the numbers start moving in ways that feel almost unfair. A 10% return on $100,000 is $10,000. On $200,000, it's $20,000. On $500,000, it's $50,000. More than what many Americans save in an entire year. The base keeps growing, so the return on that base keeps growing without you doing anything differently. But the psychological shift is just as powerful. Once your portfolio crosses $100,000, you stop feeling like you are fighting uphill. Bad months stop feeling catastrophic because the base absorbs the hit. A 10% market drop on $20,000 means you lost $2,000. A 10% drop on $120,000 means you lost $12,000 on paper, but you also know that a 10% recovery earns back $12,000 on a larger base. The math now works in your favor during recoveries too. There is also a confidence shift. You stop questioning whether this is working. The evidence is right there, and that confidence makes you less likely to make the emotional mistakes that derail most investors. Panic selling, chasing trends, abandoning the strategy during a rough quarter. $100,000 is not just a financial milestone. It is the point where investing stops being an act of faith and starts being an observable reality. Section 4. The Trap: Why People Quit Before They Get There. If $100,000 is such a powerful threshold, why do so many people never reach it? The answer isn't laziness. It is comparison and impatience hitting at exactly the wrong moment. The wrong moment is year 2 or year 3. Your balance is somewhere between $15,000 and $25,000. You see someone online who flipped a stock and made $30,000 in 3 months. Or a friend who bought a property that went up in value, and you look at your boring index fund sitting there, growing at its slow, steady pace. And the math feels insulting compared to those stories. So people redirect. They start trading individual stocks, looking for acceleration.